Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays, is my good friend, Michele Barra. Michele, what's up?
Well, I mean, it's Monday. We have another week of basketball, so I'm ready to go.
So we have essentially this week and then 2 more weeks. So 3 more Mondays, including today, where we have regular season basketball, or at least future regular season basketball to talk about. In 4 weeks, and in about a month, Michele, we will have a finished regular season for the Thunder, which is kind of wild to think about. The Thunder tonight are in Philadelphia, and they will play maybe some kind of version of the Sixers. Right now they have tons of players that are questionable. This could go in so many ways. Joel Embiid is questionable with right shoulder soreness. Danny Green is questionable with left hip recovery. Tobias Harris is questionable with right knee recovery. Furkan Korkmaz is questionable with right ankle sprain. B-Ball Paul is in health and safety protocols, and Ben Simmons is questionable with an illness that I do not believe is COVID related. So, I mean, one of those guys, 2 of those guys makes a giant difference in what tonight looks like. And then on the Thunder side, we have Tony Bradley questionable with a left ankle sprain. Gabriel Deck is still not with the team. Lou Dort is out with a right hip strain. Shea is out with plantar fasciitis. Josh Hall is out with a bilateral knee soreness. And then Mike Muscala is out. And then, of course, our guy Al Horford is just no longer going to play. So, man, this game could go in a lot of different directions here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game where, at the beginning of the season, if you said that to me, then it's clearly a win for the Thunder, because I really think that a team with Shea could beat a team like that, and probably also a team that was on a run. I mean, we saw the Kenrich Williams plus Horford lineup winning basketball games.
Yep.
Right now, without Dort, I'm not sure it makes a difference. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but my question is more, is Ben Simmons' illness related to foam or not?
I don't know. I would hope not. I hope that his pants aren't full of foam. I mean,
that part of the podcast, I really risked to make a car crash. Like, I was laughing so hard.
Have you heard those before?
No, of course not.
Well, I'm glad that you know them now. It's great.
Yeah,
we spent our entire Saturday working outside, and me and my 6-year-old son trying to come up with different versions of the Diarrhea song for a good 4 hours. So we came up with some really good material, by the way. So maybe we can make that bonus Down to Dunk material later on. This is basically going to be the Bazley Poku show tonight. Mateo and whoever else, Kenrich. And that has not been a winning show as of late. I think that there's a lot of inefficiency. There's a lot of turnovers, but it also looks like the Sixers could possibly be out with a ton of their guys. I mean, they really need to figure out to get one of Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid on the floor to make this kind of more of a certainty when regards to winning. But the Thunder are quite beaten down right, and they've come out and they've played well in first halves, and they've kind of let go of the rope pretty easy. That they'll come out and throw a haymaker. If they get punched in the mouth, they're pretty much down for the count, is kind of how it's gone lately. Not to say that this couldn't go differently. In fact, I'm going to predict the Thunder win tonight in Philadelphia. That's just how it's going to go. I've been really good lately with my predictions, and so I'll say that they'll win tonight in Philly. They do have right. They do have Boston tomorrow night in Boston. Second night of a back-to-back. I would guess Lou will be gone for that one as well. And then we have the Pelicans on Friday, which I'm still calling the deck game. I think that Gabriel Deck should be out of quarantine by then and should be able to play. I don't have direct information about that. That's just me trying to lining up a timeline that makes sense to me. And if not, then certainly against Indiana on Saturday, May 1st. So it's at least something to look forward to as a Thunder fan. Something else to look forward to as a Thunder fan is the Athletic did a redraft of the 2020 draft. And it is, if you're a Thunder fan, you get pretty excited pretty quick because there is a Thunder player that surfaces within the top 10, and that's Alexei Pokusevski, who is drafted 7th and also drafted by Sam Vecini, which also makes you feel better because Sam is just a brilliant mind when it comes to the draft and these guys' development. So just give me your thoughts on him going 7th in this redraft.
Sorry, I lost you for a sec, but I imagine that you went through the guys who were drafting in this mock and that Vesini drafted Pokusevski, right?
Yes, you're cutting out for me as well. Let me hold on. We're gonna hit pause on the actual show, and you guys are just gonna get a behind-the-scenes look at what happens whenever things are going slowly. Could mean my wife is using the microwave. I don't know. Hold on.
But maybe it's me.
I think it might be you. My speed is more than adequate.
Let me check. I have bad weather here, so it might be that. Yeah, it's not great.
What are you at? Sorry to our YouTube listeners. Just hang in there with us for a second.
Yeah, it's about 15. Should be enough.
Sound better to me now. Let's get after it. I'll reintroduce the segment. Here we go. So McKellar, the Athletic did a 2020 redraft, and we had James Edwards, my guy, James Edwards, love that guy. John Hollinger and Sam Vecini did this redraft where they just kind of cycled through the three of them, and they got to each choose who they would have selected had the draft been today. And we see everything these guys have done as pros. And we had Alexei Pokusevski going 7th, 10 spots higher than he originally went, picked by Sam Vecini. And what were your initial thoughts? And then we'll kind of get into the meat of this.
Well, my main take of this is Pokusevski did not produce at the NBA level. Like, he had a few games where you could see, well, he has flashes and also overall production. And the fact that those flashes, just those flashes, are enough for a guy like Sam Vecini to say, well, yes, I'll take him before Killinez, or I'll take him before like plenty other guys that actually produced, like Sadiq Bey or guys like that. It's pretty encouraging, I would say. And he goes and also say that if Pat Williams is off the board, he probably chooses Pokusevski at 4, which is crazy. I mean, before Wiseman, because the only other guy that could have like Edwards and LaMelo Ball as 2 Edwards and 1 LaMelo are locks to me.
Yeah.
The only 2 guys that can really rise are Halliburton and Pat Williams. So, and Wiseman is the only one that can drop. So, I think that Sam prefers Pokusevski to Wiseman, which is, I think, extremely interesting.
It's very wise, man. I think it is. I would not. I really don't like what Wiseman's done this season. And the versatility that Poku shows at the height that he's at is way more geared toward the end of the day than what Wiseman's role is, which is a big guy, pretty skilled, but like just a really poor decision maker, and a guy that just hasn't gotten it together. And the fact that the Warriors, and this is okay for a rookie, by the way, like this is okay. This happened with the Thunder with Domas. So it's not to say that Wiseman can't be a good player down the road, but like they take him off the court and they're a much better team. And also the fact that they really didn't add anybody, and that was the story with Domas, is that they added Taj Gibson, and he essentially just took his spot.
Yeah, but I mean, I have a soft spot for Domas, so whatever you say against him, I have to fight you.
No, it's actually like an argument for the fact that sometimes rookies just aren't impactful, and it doesn't mean anything about what they're going to be later on.
Yeah, but my point, yes, that is right. And on Pokusevski, and you can use that in Pokusevski's favor. But if you compare the season that Wiseman is having, he's playing the role that he will play going forward.
True.
Which is not what happened with Domas.
True.
And so, and this is probably relates a little bit to what we'll say later about Bazley. If you are playing outside your comfort zone as a young player in this league, it can get rough pretty easily. And so with Wiseman, I mean, you're playing with Curry. You're playing with Draymond Green, which is one of the best passers in the league. Yes, having Wiggins and Oubre doesn't really help in terms of spacing and understanding of the game. If you have Clay out there, it completely changed the dynamic of the team. But I mean, he's not producing, nor the team is good with him at the center position, which, I mean, if you put there Looney or a guy like that, the Warriors are much better.
Yeah, and Looney's not that good. Like,
Exactly.
let's be clear. Like, Looney is probably a backup for any other team, right?
Maybe. I don't think that Looney plays backup in every single team in the league.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a second or third center on most teams. That's what he is, and he is good enough to make an improvement for them. So all that to say, it is nice to see Poku getting some recognition, and it is all about what he can be. Like you said, he's shown enough that makes you think, okay, he is not Bruno. And isn't that kind of like the baseline is, let's see if he's Bruno, then, darn, we missed, because, Bruno's not in the league, and he was the, 2 years away from being 2 years away guy. And it turns out that he was just never even that close. So I would, this is a big deal, and Poku's been fun to watch. He's shown a baseline level of understanding defense. He's a great passer at his size, and really, if he can be like this shot blocking wing that can create on the offensive end and hit well enough from three, that is certainly worth taking, probably even in the top 5. Because guys really like Isaiah Stewart went ahead of Poku in this mock draft, which James Edwards took him at 6. I like Isaiah Stewart a lot. The only reason that you don't take Isaiah Stewart at that level is just because of the athleticism and the ceiling that it puts on a player's career when you're not that great of an athlete at that position. I think Isaiah Stewart will get better because he is young. He's 19 years old. I think he will get better, but to put him in front of somebody that has like wild potential is, I don't know. You're just shooting for somebody that's going to be, that's totally fine. But I do think that's quite a reach for Stewart.
Yeah, you can. If I draft for the Hawks, that is not the pick I try to make, because it's not a position of need. You have no time to develop him because Capella is playing great, and you know it because you are redrafting in the middle of the season, or at the end of the season, so and so you don't have the space. And the median outcome for Stewart is much higher than probably one of Pokusevski.
Sure.
And probably no one else above him, because I think that Halliburton has a pretty high ceiling. I think that Pat Williams has. Maybe he has a higher floor than Wiseman. Stewart has. So it's fine to keep him in the top 10. But either you see a lot of improvement in terms of passes and in terms of shooting, which the latter could be something. The former, I don't know. It's hard to pick a center that cannot pass the ball and making a top 10. I mean, it's the reason why me and you were a little bit on the downside in terms of Wiseman. I mean, he's a guy that projects to be a great athlete, but the IQ, the passing IQ, was never there. So I don't know. I mean, Poku at 7 is a reach, but Stewart is a different kind of reach.
It's a different kind of reach.
It's a safe bet. It's a super safe bet, which is not what you want to do at 6, probably in a draft like that. Because if you don't draft Stewart, say that Stewart becomes a better version of Plumlee, or even more, say a Nurk kind of guy.
Yeah.
80% of Adebayo, something like that. If you miss, what's the downside? There are 10 guys that you can buy that are roughly that. I mean, Clint Capella, who is a great player. I mean, if Stewart becomes Capella, you are very happy.
Oh yeah.
You can buy Capella on the market. That happened.
Yeah, it did.
If Pokusevski becomes something, that is a bet that you don't want to miss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with Stewart to me is that he's 6'8". He's not 7 feet like Nurk, or like Capella.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing about him, is that he's a 6'8" center who will out effort everybody. He can score well around the basket. I like him a lot. I just think it's a little bit of a reach on him. And then like notable guys that they left out of the top 14, I think Precious Achua deserves some consideration there. I think Tyrese Maxey deserved some consideration. Emmanuel Quickly is kind of a guy that are just a little shocked that he didn't even make the top 14. Like the guy's been, he's a good player. Like he's a good player. That's
Hollinger's fault. He had to go with this guy on the second round. I mean, he's pumping Paul Reed's.
Come on, I love B-ball Paul more than just about anybody, but that is outrageous. I mean, that's an outrageous pick.
Yeah, I was scrolling through. I said, well, where is Quickly? I mean,
even Teo, like I'm not out here saying like, oh my gosh, what a travesty that Teo wasn't picked in the top 14. Like I don't think that, but you have to take Teo before B-ball Paul. You just have to. To me, that is a wild one. Yeah, I don't quite get that. And Sadiq Bey should have gone higher, I think, in this mock as well. And then guys that were left out that did go, and also Okoro. Like, come on. Like, Isaac Okoro has done enough to at least go in the back half of that. I mean, he plays a lot for that team, and he defends at a high level. The offense is not there yet, and that's okay. I think it will come. I think that guy works so hard. I think if you're going to include a Kongwu, then you have to include Okoro. And that's how I feel.
Yeah, it's probably based on these three guys' taste, and you can see that.
It certainly is. Yes.
And probably it's also, like if you have to rank rookies in terms of production, then it's quite easy. I mean, you just rank them, and you can add a bonus for good games, and probably you have some sort of ranking. Like going with your idea, no matter how the rookie performs, is probably not correct, but also left that idea completely out. Like we were high on certain guys, and one season may not be enough to say, especially this season, may not be enough to say, well, I had it wrong. I need to go back and then, because I mean, those guys were not high on Okoro. I mean, Sam was probably the highest, and I don't know.
I get
sometimes it. You don't see you don't see improvements in areas where you want to see improvement. And if you think that offense is the point for Okoro to reach his ceiling, which probably is, this season didn't answer your questions.
Yeah, certainly not. And it makes sense. Again, I go back to B-ball Paul. Even Isaiah Stewart. Like I think I would rather take the swing on Okoro than take Isaiah Stewart. because the least you're going to get from Okoro is like a good defensive wing. And if he can get it together on offense, which I still believe in him. Other guys that didn't make it, Obi Toppin, who went 8th.
Yeah.
He's only played 500 minutes this season. That's rough. Denny Avdia, who went out with an injury. He'll be out for the rest of the season. That's not great, but he hasn't had the best season either.
Bad injury. Tough to watch.
Jaylen Smith, predictably, who's played 89 minutes all season. We could have told the Suns, no, don't do that.
I mean, I'm fine in the end of the first round saying, well, if he somehow is able to shoot it, then it's better than just taking a random guy.
Yeah, but to take him ahead of Vassell, who could really help your team, Tyrese Halliburton, who obviously can. I mean, he helps everybody. I mean, he almost beat the Warriors last night with the Kings. I mean, he was leading that team. It's like, come on, man! Like he's one of.
It's insane. Like that pick doesn't make any sense. Like to me, what do you see in Jalen Smith to make you say, well, because with Cam Johnson, I hated the pick back then, but you could see, well, we want one thing, like remove all the players that are not in the culture that we want to build. Like you see TJ Warren go away, you see other guys like Josh Jackson, which clearly has talent. You could see that. Like enough of these guys. We want good guys, and we want shooters, because the idea is we surround Ayton with shooting, and we'll take it from there. Fine, I see the plan. I don't agree. I'll see the plan. But with Smith, what is the plan? Like, why?
You took the wrong guy. They just flat took the wrong guy.
They misspelled something? I don't know. Is there another?
Is there another Jaylen? There's lots of Jaylens in this next draft.
Well, McDaniels. I mean, take McDaniels.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Jaden. Not Jaylen. Jaylen's his brother, but Jaden.
Yes.
Like Jaden McDaniels, if they just you swing and you miss on him at 10, which he's become a good pro, even in a bad situation. Like you can watch him play like, okay, like he's there. Like he should be. And he was picked in this mock draft too. He would be perfect for the Suns right now. There's actually a lot of guys that would be perfect for the Suns.
Yeah, don't play Kaminsky, play McDaniels. That's probably a win for both. Like
yes. Yeah. So Jalen Smith at 10 was out. Kyrlos Jr. is not in the draft. And then Aaron Nesmith, who went 14th, also not in the draft. So lots of guys that moved up. And it's weird. It's a weird one, honestly. When I read through it, I was like, this is kind of a weird one. It's kind of a weird redraft. I don't know that I like it. I didn't feel satisfied after reading it, even though like Poku went really high. I just came away thinking like this feels like something that you did right after the draft was over, almost in some ways. You know, like it didn't feel.
Or after the G League bubble, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of left me feeling strange, but it's worth a read. It's a very interesting article, and if you're excited about Poku, this will do nothing to deter you from that excitement. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Before we do that, we're going to go to the stream and see who is with us, and then we are going to hear a word from our sponsors. We have Kyle Clark saying, let's go. We have Miroslav in Germany. We have Hoopstock69 in the chat. We have Kurt Leftwich from Little Rock. We have Big Mike from New Zealand. We have Lawrence Field in Boston. We have Michael Austin from Gulf Shores, Alabama. Ooh, I'd like to be there right now. Mad Rain 03 in Muskogee Creek Nation. Kyle Clark in Orlando, Florida. Colin Reed at Lake Arcadia. Let's see. Reese in Norman, Oklahoma. We have Acharya in India. I'm so sorry. That's clearly wrong. Tyler Field at OKC. We have Nate Sanders wanting some Charlie Brown talk. Don't worry. That's coming at you soon. We have Christos in Greece eating some cookies and cream. Ice cream. Man, that sounds delightful. We have Larry Miller in Sarasota, Florida. We have, Sarasota. I love Sarasota. Falk in Denmark. We have my guy Jeremy Lamb, the real Jeremy Lamb, in Bethany, Oklahoma. We have Hermes in Greece. We have Fiddy in Oregon. We have Christian in Indiana. We have Bain in London. T in Miami. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining. We have Luke Babbitt. Luke Babbitt listening in from work. Where are you working now, Luke? How does it sound that you're out of the league? Where are you at? Mahdi in Bangladesh. Lots of people in the chat. Achar from Mexico. I can't say your first name. Krishna. Sorry. Thanks so much, everybody. We have Niner by Nature from Seattle, Joshua from Nashville, Felipe in Brazil. Thanks so much. DTD Worldwide. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll be right back after this quick break. Oh boy, I've been trying to cut down on carbs and sugar and unhealthy food, which is very difficult because I love cereal. I love eating cereal in the morning. I love eating it for an afternoon snack. I love eating it at night while I'm watching the Thunder or any other NBA team play. And I have found my solution. It's Magic Spoon. With 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. It only has 140 calories per serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. It's amazing that it tastes good because anything that's free of that many things usually doesn't. But I promise you, Magic Spoon actually tastes good. And with their 4 flavors, cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter, whoo boy, I will tell you, I just got the peanut butter and it is absolutely delightful. It's so very good. You can even mix it with the cocoa and it tastes like a peanut butter cup. Cannot recommend Magic Spoon enough. You can go to magicspoon.com/dunk and grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code DUNK at checkout to save $5 off your first order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Why would you not do it? There is literally no downside here. Remember, go get your delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/dunk and use the promo code DUNK to save $5 off. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. And we're back from that quick break. Michele, I think this would be a good time to talk about Bazley. Since he's been back from his injury, we've gotten to see what he can do on a team that doesn't have a lot of players on it. So he gets to use a lot of possessions. We can kind of see where his development is at. And I'll just throw to you. What have you seen from Baze that's been encouraging to you?
Not much. But because in the end, I mean, you want to see production, and production overall is there. I mean, he's rebounding the ball, he's doing stuff on the court, but you want to see efficiency. This league is, I wouldn't say almost about efficiency, but most of it. You need to be an efficient player or an outrageously productive one, aka Russell Westbrook, and Bazley is not that player. So, and even if you take a player as productive as Russ, you're still questioning his efficiency to some degree. So he has been extremely inefficient, and the shooting is a concern. But overall, I can shake the fact that a lot of it to me is shooting selection, because I mean when he has his feet set, he's much better. And I don't know why he's taking those shots. I have no idea. I don't know if this is by design. I don't know if the coaching staff want him to explore and to do stuff with the ball, to try to be an initiator. Last year was almost only
Michele? Hello? I've lost him. So I think McKellay's point, and he's completely frozen. I don't know if you guys.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
he froze. He
Yeah.
froze completely.
I know. StreamYard is letting me know that my connection is terrible.
Oh no. Okay, so you were talking about where you where he was taking shots from last season. Was the last point that I heard.
Yeah, it was. I basically stopped there. I was saying that last year was like a lot of threes that were just finishing plays, not creating anything. So it's a bit of that, and in general, I mean, if there is one thing that you can fix, especially if you have been good in the past, is shooting. So I really wonder if a long summer of development will change Bazley, because I mean, all the other things are there, and if it's just shooting and you had like stretches where it was actually good, then probably there is something there to work with.
Yeah. Positive on the stats portion of this is that he is shooting 60% in the restricted area this season, where he was 53 last season. So there's an improvement, and I think we've seen that. That matches the eye test to me. Is that once he gets to the rim, he's finishing through contact more, he's dunking more. From the wing, 60% at the rim is not awful. As a big, it's not great, but he can still improve that, I believe, with strength and reps and reading the defense and learning how to do that better as he goes on. He has been given a lot more opportunity to do stuff. Last season it was, hey man, catch and shoot. If you can attack and close out, do that, and then defend your tail off. And that's how you'll get minutes. And he did. He excelled at that. And then they were like, okay, let's give you some more. Let's start to learn to create. And it has had mixed results for him largely. And the biggest fall off he's had is from three. The numbers are discouraging in almost every way. He's only 34% from he was 34% from the corners last season. No. He's 34% from the left corner this season, which is not good. Like 34% as like an overall 3-point percentage is fine. It's below league average, but that's just from the left corner. From the right corner, he's 4 of 23 on the season, 17%. Quite bad. 27% from the corners overall.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That is borderline. Hey, you shouldn't shoot that shot, and that's bad. Like for anybody that projects to be a shooter, to tell them to not shoot from the corners is bad. I don't think those numbers are necessarily predictive of what he's going to be moving forward, but it's not good for this season so far. Above the break, he's 29% on the season, and he's taken a ton from above the break. 173 3-point shots from above the break, 51 made. So it has not even been a mixed bag from three for him. It's just been a bad shooting season for him from deep. And that was something that we had hoped would progress this season, because it did progress in the bubble. He shot really well in the bubble and shot pretty well from three last season. He was 34% from three last season. And even if he just held to that and added some of the finishing that he had, he'd be a decently productive player. Now you look at just his raw production, it has increased, and that's because of shot attempts and things like that. He's up to 13 points per game, 7.5 boards, 1.5 assists, half a steal, half a block. It's good. 71% from the free throw line. That's probably, if you were to point to anything at all that makes you feel encouraged about him as a shooter, it's that he can shoot plus 70% from the free throw line, which means that he can maybe be like a 35% 3-point shooter. And and he's been that. He was that last season. He was 34.8% from three. And he's up the volume, and things have fallen. And that's where you do feel like, oh, okay. Because with a larger sample comes more certainty of what you are. He's taken 100. He took 141 threes last season, made 34%. He's taken 232 threes this season. He's made 28% of them. And who knows what's real? He struggled with injuries. He's been out of the lineup. So I'm not willing to say that Baze is just not a good shooter. I actually think he can be. But he's got to get better. He's got to develop that portion specifically if he wants a shot, because the Thunder have a billion draft picks, and the things that Bazley has done is not going to deter them from taking a forward in the draft.
Oh, no.
And his spot on this team is not guaranteed moving forward. And I like Bazley a lot. His versatility, his potential, it's all there. It's all there. The whole package is there. But at some point, you got to put it together on the floor. And this is just year 2. The dude hasn't played. He's barely played 100 NBA games. So this is not I'm not trying to decide anything, but you kind of have to know where you've been to know where you need to go. And where we've been this season is the shooting has regressed quite a bit.
Yeah, and we need to also to acknowledge the fact that last year he was playing with much, much better passers. And,
no question. Yes, especially at this point in the season.
And this doesn't make a case for him, because, I mean, if you are a shooter, you need to be okay with a variety of passers. Shea is not the bad passer by any means. He's not a great one, maybe, but so I wonder if how much of the Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder factor plays into his number being good last year, especially in the bubble. But I also want to say that he's extremely young. He was one of the youngest players in last year's draft, and he didn't have one of the most important summers that a player can have because of COVID. I mean, Shea did not improve during the summer. I mean, he was bad in the bubble, bad by our standards, which were pretty high. Then he had a great season. And Bazley, in spots, I remember there were a handful of games where he was great. He was taking mid-range jumpers and then had injuries. So I wonder if, I think that we need to say that he has been bad, but not forget that he had moments. If we swap the Pokusevski and the Bazley seasons, I think we'd say, wow, Poku is producing like crazy, and we still say, well, Bazley is bad because Poku's statistics are terrible. And Bazley had, I would say, as many good games as Poku had. Those were just at the beginning, like before injuries and stuff like that. So I wonder, yes, he's a second-year player, and so it's fair to expect a little bit more out of him. But also, I mean, I would not say, well, let's just say that Bazley will not be a good player.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to say that yet.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, this is not an indictment on his career. It's more of just what does he need to do to improve. Poku is shooting better from the corners than Bazley is.
Yeah, and to answer that, I really think that the recipe is there. I mean, I want to see him as the worst shooter on a lineup where he is the worst shooter, and which means like crazy good spacing around him.
Yep.
And just attacking off the dribble. That is something that I want to see, and also want to see him playing defense, not against wings. I mean, that can work, but what if you have him as someone that defends bigs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, probably still slim for that as of today, but tomorrow, who knows? Yes. I mean, because if he can guard 4s and 5s, then it completely changes the dynamic of him. I mean, he can play alongside, I would say, Pokusevski, and those two can be the big men. And if you have a guy like Cade that plays at the 3, then you have 3 guys that are 6'8" and above, or 3 guys that are Stewart's height or above. Which is
Jeff Green is not a bad comp for what they want Bazley to be.
Yeah,
I mean, late career Jeff Green. Yeah, I think it's something to look out for him.
Yeah, that's a great way to end the Bazley segment. I mean, that guy can be a functional player. Probably not in every lineup, probably not in every situation, but if you find the right situation for him, then he can be extremely beneficial. And maybe it's coming off the bench.
Yeah,
it's not that. I mean,
that's okay.
Yeah,
like he was.
sure.
Yeah, where he was drafted. If he even just became a bench player, that's a success.
Yes,
and that's how this works. The Thunder did sign a new 2-way contract player, or a 10-day contract. I'm sorry, not 2-way, 10-day contract. Charlie Brown. First of all, Michele, what do you have much knowledge of Charlie Brown?
Yeah, I know who he is. I know who the Peanuts are.
Okay.
I know Snoopy. I know this, but it was not one of my things growing up.
Okay.
Like I knew them, but I didn't read much of it.
Yeah. Well, that's about how I feel about Charlie Brown, the NBA player. I don't know much about him. He's not my thing. He's not a part of what I do.
He has a weird face. It seems that it is split in two with these hairs that are half blonde, half. It's a weird looking guy.
Quite exciting. It's quite exciting. I'm sure he'll play tonight because that's the way the Thunder roll with these new guys. Is that we're going to see some Charlie Brown and continue to produce all the memes and all the fun things that you can Twitter, because that's what you do. I did find some interesting stuff about the shooting when I was looking up Bazley's shooting on NBA.com. Do you know who is the best corner 3 shooter on the team, Michele?
Kenrich Williams.
You know what he's shooting from the corners? You're right, by the way.
Yes, 49.5%.
So he's shooting 56.8% according to NBA.com from corners.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It's true. I guessed. I didn't know the
56.8. It's not a ton. It's only 37 corner 3, so it's not just a ton. The next one, let's just go through the top. Let's just go top 5. We're just gonna guess who's in the top 5 for corner 3s.
Mike Muscala.
Mike Muscala is not in the top 5, but he did shoot 41.7% from the corners on the season, which is good, like pretty good.
Shea.
Shea is 44% from the corners. It's only on 18 corner 3s, which is, I mean, that's understandable because if you're the primary ball handler, you are not taking a ton of corner 3s. But when he's taken them, he's made them.
I would say Ty Jerome.
Ty Jerome is number 3 on the list, 46%, 12 of 26 on the season.
Then it's probably Svi Mykhailiuk.
Svi is shooting 37.9% from the corners.
Yeah, that's bad.
With the Thunder. Yeah, not good. Not good. 29 attempts overall.
Yeah, I thought he had more than that.
Yeah, I did too. It seems low.
Maybe Teo?
Teo is shooting 40% from the corners. He is not in the top 5.
Horford?
Al Horford, get ready for this. When he played for the Thunder, shot 22% from the corners. He was 4 of 18.
Oh. Who am I missing?
There's 2 spots left. You got Kenrich Williams at 1, 56%. Ty Jerome at 3, 46%. And Shea at 5 with 44%. So we need number 2 and number 4.
Obviously, players that went away still count, right?
They do, but it's all players that are still with us.
Really?
Yeah.
Lou Dort?
Lou Dort, 44.9% from the corners on this season.
That's unbelievable.
22 of 49. And he's 44% from the right corner, and he's 45% from the left corner.
That's extremely consistent.
It's as consistent as you can get. And the one that sticks out, I looked at Clint Brunt, who writes for AP, after this happened, and we were both just like wide-eyed. So it was at the beginning of the Wizards game. The Thunder are in transition, and Lou throws it to Teo on the wing, relocates to the corner. Teo throws it right back to him. He's open, swishes the corner three. And we just both looked at each other just wide-eyed like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that just happened.
I saw that.
It was unbelievable. But yeah, he's number 2. Or no, number 4. We still have the number 2 guy in corner threes. Who is it?
I think I'm missing someone. How many attempts?
It's only 17 attempts. It's not many.
Then Isaiah Roby.
Isaiah Roby is number 2, shooting 47% from the corners. 8 of 17, which is too low of a total. Same with Shea. Like, it's too low of a total number of corner threes to say this is what this guy is, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's way too low. But it is not nothing.
No, it's not nothing. But if you put the threshold like around 30, then you probably have him and Shea out. And so you have basically Jerome and Muscala and guys like that in, and probably Teo as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot going on there. Let's see. So if we were to just rank the top 5 corner 3-point shooters with, what'd you say the threshold be, 30?
30.
Yeah, Kenrich Williams, number 1, 56%. Lou Dort, number 2, 44.9%. Mike Muscala, number 3, 41%. Teo Maledon, 40%. He shot 35. Poku would be next. He's taken 43 corner threes. He's only made 30% of them.
I see.
And then we have Bazley, who's taken 58, only hit 27%. And then that's our list.
Yeah.
Jaylen Hoard has missed all of his corner threes.
Great. I still like his defense.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, I don't think of him as being on the team, any longer than this season. But
no, and he's a hard player to see also making the league in other teams. I mean, maybe Europe. I mean, I can see a future in Europe for him. Maybe I'm wrong, but guys like that usually pan out in Europe when he's tall, strong. He can play probably the 4, maybe even the 5 in some leagues. He's 6'8", right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got the size. Like, the size stuff is not. I don't like how upright he is. He's like little Harrison Barnesy with how upright he is.
Too much neck, right?
Long neck, too upright. Like, he's never going to be a real fluid player, and he doesn't have all like the skill set that Harrison Barnes has. It's just.
I always remember a guy that we scouted for my home team, Casale Monferrato, and the player is Joe Trapani. And I always remember he had the neck as long as his head. And for the first time I said, well, he will never pan out. He played 4 games and was out of the league.
Yeah, that's my Jaylen Hoard take in a nutshell.
Yeah,
you know what Lou Dort shot from the corners last season? He took 42, by the way.
I would say sub 30.
31%.
By the way, when I got
is outrageous, right?
Yeah, that's when outrageous. I have my pizza.
Yeah?
Do you need to send here a pizza because you lost the bet, clearly?
I did.
How do we arrange that?
I totally forgot. How do we arrange that? Can I send you a Papa John's pizza through the mail? How does that work?
We'll see.
Do I just send you? You know what I could do? I could send you a Papa Murphy's pizza. Which, do you know what Papa Murphy's is?
I think I do.
So the concept is take and bake. You bake it yourself.
No, that is not going to work. That is no.
I'm going to send you pepperonis individually and individually addressed envelopes. You'll get one day you'll just get so much mail. Like, there'll be some cheese in one envelope. There'll be some pepperonis. I'll send you a package with the dough. You'll just get Papa Murphy's and and individually wrapped. No, I don't know. I don't know how we do this. But yeah, he's on the season, Lu Dort, 34.6%. Now he's hot. He's been hot. He started the season just outrageously hot and then went cold. And now he's kind of normalized and the most important thing in the world happened with Lu this season. The most important thing when it comes to 3-point shooting happened with him. And that's that the other team guards him. Like that is
fouls him, not guards him.
Even fouls him. That is the most important thing when it comes to 3-point shooting. Lu could have shot 35%, and if nobody guarded him, it doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter because it doesn't affect the offense. Now that teams are paying attention to him and they guard him, it becomes outrageously important to the future of the Thunder and the future of Lu Dort's career that teams are like, hey, you need to guard that guy. You need to close out. That has made Shai's life so much easier. It has made the Thunder look decent when just Lu Dort is in the game, period. There was a stretch during the Wizards game where the Thunder looked pretty good, and it was because of Lu.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember or you and Alex, I don't remember who was. I'm mixing up every single podcast. Someone discussed his percentage at the rim, and
that was Alex.
That is completely fair, and it's the right assessment to make. But I remember when teams were trying desperately to scheme Green when he was with the Spurs out and try to let him penetrate instead of shooting.
Yep.
Well, even if that happens with Lu Dort, I mean, even if he's still shooting 34 and 51, who cares?
They have to guard him everywhere now because he can drive and he can finish. He hit that layup over his right shoulder up, and he had to lay it up high off the glass.
That was insane.
And it was like, oh, okay. Like he has that in him, plus the 3-point shooting, plus the pass. I think that we are somewhat still underrating what he can be just because he was undrafted, where it's like, oh, well, if this is what he is, wow, that's awesome. Cool. Like you're almost like satisfied with like almost every move that he makes. And, to me, he's still very young. He still has a lot of potential. He's still getting better. I don't know what Lu Dort's ceiling is, but even if he stopped here, that is quite impressive to me.
Yeah, and don't get this as something against what Alex says. I think that this is a very good observation, but I take the following: like 51, and people are trying to guard him as you said, in both. In 3-point shooting, and also they don't want to allow him to drive, because if you don't guard him, he will score. He's not really able to finesse at the rim. I mean, if you look guys like Kyrie and you put two bodies on him, Kyrie will likely score anyway because he's that good. Steph is the same. I mean, he has this way to finish at the rim. It is unbelievable, and it is what makes Curry unguardable, because if you really play the three a lot, which is what everyone does, then he still is able to finish at the rim. Lu, I mean, okay, he cannot finish in traffic very well, but if you let him, if you just play the three and you have basically an open lane, he will score. Which is, to me, the insane part is that they are guarding him like as probably one of the best players on the court, and he's shooting those percentage, which I think are already so much. He's shown so much improvement in both from year 1 to year 2 that if he even improve half of it next year, we're talking about a different player, like a very different player. Probably not the max level guy, but he's a guy that will take average starter money for his entire career. Yeah, if he's like that, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, I mean, like we discussed, like he's a Serge Ibaka level player on your team.
Yeah,
and of that importance. And if you already have that guy locked up plus Shai, you can get one, hopefully two more guys. then you're going to have a chance to be a really, really good team sooner than later because you've already started the development process with these guys. So it should be quite exciting to Thunder fans. Okay, we're going to stop there. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you guys tuning in on the stream. If you're here on the stream, it's great. If not, make sure that you go subscribe to our YouTube page. You can hit the little bell and it will let you know whenever we will be live. So join us live, ask questions, throw stuff at us. We appreciate that. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the back-to-back Philly-Boston games, which the Thunder will probably win both of them. And we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.